All right, on a podcast.
Yes,
Duane Bang Ludwig.
Yes, sir.
Bas Rutten, my man. You guys are in town. We had you guys do a seminar yesterday, which I am deeply bummed that I couldn't make it to.
Yeah, where were you at, sucker?
My son has a
really
bad fever for about 4 days.
Sorry.
We
Who
have
cares,
one car.
man?
That's right. So I didn't want to have the opportunity for my wife to be stuck in an ER solo. And thankfully he didn't need to go, but I had to be on call for that.
Yeah,
That's scary. You had to put him in like cold water. Did they ask you?
No, his fever came back down naturally. Thankfully, we didn't have to give him acetaminophen or anything, but all that stuff's on deck just in case. And
Yep.
that's kind of the deal, you know. You just gotta be prepped for anything. You don't
It's
want
scary.
that. Yeah.
Yep. It's really scary.
Being a parent will definitely keep you on your toes. That's for sure.
Hell yeah.
And to fight and fighting and being a parent. Like there's a lot
They're
to
both
think
keep
of.
you on your toes.
Yes, sir.
And the wives.
Yes, sir. And the wives.
Wives keep you on your toes better than anybody. So what's up, man? You guys, you're in town. You teach a seminar, and you get a chance to see these awesome fights last night. Drop some knowledge on them.
Oh, you know, we kind of said it before. We thought Stipe was going to win
Yes, sir.
because I didn't think that Ngannou was really tested yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest test he had was over him, but over him, you could tell that he was intimidated because he started wailing like a maniac, something he never did before. Because I thought that if Overeem would fight like Overeem, he would beat him.
Yeah.
But I think there was an intimidation factor there, and Stipe doesn't have that. And now we saw him getting tired after the first round, Ngannou. Yeah, and then for everybody, you know, every person, you have had the experience. We all had that experience. Like you really run out of gas,
Yeah.
you know, and then you have to go into the
I don't think
second round.
I don't think you got tired very often, boss. I can't remember. Maybe I count on one hand seeing
No,
you tired.
but that one time made me who I am because I never wanted to. What they say, fatigue makes coward out of man. It's 100%. You become a little sissy once you and when they turn it up at that moment. If they see you're getting tired, they turn it up. It's all from downhill from there. So thankfully, I overcame it one time, and I knocked him out with a knee to the liver, which was not even a hard knee, but I was just looking at his breathing pattern, and then at the moment he was breathing in, I dropped the knee in, and it worked. But man, I never want to be in that situation again. That was horrible.
But to be extremely tired and then to still have that type of mental composure to find the timing to hit that actual knee during the breathing pattern with this fighter, that's an exceptional level of martial art mastery.
Very high level
Yes,
master.
sir. Right?
Yeah.
Being dead tired, one of the most tired.
you have
still
to.
figuring. Yeah, but see, most people cowered away from that.
All
They'd be tired and just fall.
composure,
Yeah.
no panic.
Yeah. All composure,
Fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Yeah.
Except Boss.
Fatigue makes ninjas of
Asterisk.
Yeah.
Bas Rutten.
So
I
different
had
response.
I
Huh?
had it in Thai boxing too one time. That was no fun. I have to be honest. I lost that one, so it does happen.
Second place isn't bad if you learn from the lesson.
Yeah, I thought Stipe would win the fight just because, I mean, if you look, they ran some, I like the stats. Stats don't always mean shit.
No.
But when they're
They're
talking
still
about,
cool.
for Ngannou to be the favorite, I was like, that makes
was he the favorite?
zero
Oh, I didn't know
sense
that.
at all. And I know that that's driven by people who they're putting money on. But come on, seriously? And he's got one of the highest knockout percentages in the UFC in heavyweight.
why, yeah.
It's 64%. Well, fucking Miocic is in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
He's on a whole
They're just
different
trying to
level.
build people up,
Yeah, you
right?
look at
They're
the
kinda
guys that he's gone
scrambling.
against. I mean, he's just been tested over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
He never shows fear. He's got laser-like precision.
I loved it. And
Yeah.
it was just, with Oezdemir, the same thing. You know, yeah, he's an animal, and if he hits you, but I mean, DC's been through so much stuff. This guy, I mean, against John Jones, I mean, the fights that he had, every single person, it's going to be very hard. I don't think Oezdemir can beat him. That's what I said, you know? And you could tell he can't. You know, he needs to tune up.
Yeah.
Ground division,
Yeah,
ground
I remember DC saying something. Uzdemir had made a post on Instagram, and DC fired back with, look, you're not John Jones, and I'm not Jimmy Manawa.
Nice.
And it was like, yeah. And Jimmy Manawa was a guy who beat the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
But still, like, that's the level we're talking about, right? DC he's easily one of the greatest of all time, and it just sucks that he's been in John Jones' shadow for so long. But, I mean, I think you can clearly now put an asterisk next to John Jones with multiple pops.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the polygraph or not. I mean, he's tested positive
What
twice.
was the last situation, though? Do you know that?
The last situation was Turinabol.
What is that?
It's a steroid.
Okay.
And so,
So
it
he's
is
straight up.
It's a legit steroid. It's not like Now, he took a polygraph, and that was another funny comment that DC fired back with, because Jones passed the polygraph, and he said, Ted Bundy passed the polygraph.
Oh, nice.
Ted Bundy fucking was a serial killer and passed the polygraph, you know? There's a Seinfeld episode on passing the fucking polygraph.
That's funny.
It's not a lie if you believe it's true.
Oh, yeah.
George Costanza.
There we go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nice. Good call.
That's what they say. But then still, doing it under pressure, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a shame. When is he going to come back? Do we know anything about that? Is it going to be 3, 4 years? Well, it has to be 4 years, right?
No, I think, well, for him, all bets are off. You know, just like the first time he tested positive, he had two drugs that are used in post-cycle therapy. Clomiphene citrate, which is a fertility drug, lowers estrogen, boosts natural testosterone, and then another anti-estrogen. And so those are things you only take if you're coming off of testosterone, you know? And
okay, so that's what you mean. Sorry, can you start that over for me?
Both of those, sorry. Yeah. So just for the listeners, we've put like a stack, like UFC level, about 100 fucking posters for these guys to sign, which they're doing in the background. So if you hear some scribbling,
is it too loud?
No, not at all. Okay. No, keep going. But they're pressed for time, so I just want to make sure, we will have to repeat a couple things since these guys are doing two deals at once.
Plus, my ADD kicks in. I'll start talking about the colors on the wall and get sidetracked pretty quick. Yeah.
Is that ADD or is that mushrooms?
It could be that
What's
also.
What's going on?
No, it's definitely the ADD. ADD, 100 fights, and yeah.
I know that works.
And just being you.
And just being me.
But yeah, so he tested positive for two things that are typically taken when you come off of testosterone to rebuild your own natural testosterone.
Okay.
And then, of course, they found a way. Now, maybe this is true, maybe it isn't. I don't think this is the case. But they said, oh, hey, it was in a dick pill, right? So what happens when they give them the benefit of the doubt like that? They can reduce the sentence from the standard 2 years, which my buddy Tom Lawler got, to 1 year. That's why his original sentence for that was cut in half.
That makes sense.
Now, you would say the same thing for the second round. If he's found guilty, yeah, he should get the maximum penalty. But they just said, we can now say that John Jones didn't knowingly take anything because he passed this polygraph.
Oh, that's what they're saying?
That's just fucking funny business, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone else, if you're not the fucking GOAT, you get thrown to the wolves.
Correct.
Like Tom Lawler didn't take Ostarine. I've been telling that guy to take creatine and beta-alanine since we met on The Ultimate Fighter, and he's like, nah, I don't need that shit. He just uses cannabis, and that's it. He doesn't even use fucking protein powder.
Oh, wow.
So for this guy to have a shitty SARM, it's like a selective androgen receptor modulator, it doesn't even work. So he tests positive for something that doesn't work, and then he gets the full 2 year sentence.
Oh, no way.
It sucks, man, because there's no way this guy took it, And I know this through and through. I know Tom. If you're going to take something that works. And those are clearly the things that John Jones tested positive for, were things that work.
Wow.
So you have to have some kind of weary eye when you look at, his victories, especially, I was texting Victor Conti, a guy that I had worked with on altitude training after the whole Balco thing. Obviously, he's no stranger to performance-enhancing drugs.
Yes, sir.
And he had mentioned that there was very curious because he was working with Margaret Goodman, who used to be the head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. She now runs VADA, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency. And she had said, hey, Victor, I need you to take a look at this test result and see what's going on. It was right before he fought Cormier the first time, I believe. And he had the testosterone of an 81-year-old man.
Oh, wow.
So, how is this fucking possible? He's an elite level athlete. And he was like, well, this is textbook for somebody who's taken testosterone and jumped off.
Yeah.
So he jumped off to clear the test. And he hasn't taken anything because that would show up on a test to rebuild his natural testosterone. So his levels are literally in the tank. They're the testosterone levels of an 81-year-old man.
Wow.
Now that's a red flag. If someone in the Tour de France shows up, they just call that a red flag. You didn't test positive, but we're going to make you sit for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Same thing with hematocrit. If you ride in the Tour de France and your hematocrit goes above 50, even if they can't see EPO or anything else in your system, they say, well, clearly you've been augmenting your blood somehow, so we make you take 2 weeks off.
Oh, wow.
That kind of shit. But they don't do that. We don't have that in the UFC. And obviously, we bend the rules a little bit for the guys we like.
Yeah, that's what we're starting to see, right? And ultimately, the truth comes out.
Yeah, even with Brock Lesnar, I think that was Mark Hunt's big gripe was like, hey, man, you didn't make this guy go through anybody. If I came out of retirement today, I would have to go through a long period of testing before I could fight again, before I could get a camp. And obviously, they fast-forwarded that for Brock Lesnar. And then, of course, he still tested positive, I think, for an inhaler.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, it wasn't anything like
an actual
we would
steroid,
think Brock to take. But,
right, yeah.
But yeah, he had some good arguments there. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, you think with the new USADA program that they would find everything, right? Because I know when I'm training TJ for his fights that they're at the academy quite a bit testing him, and I'm just like, really? Like, and they wait around. So what do they have to do? Like after the training session, his blood has to settle, so he has to wait for 30 minutes before they can actually draw the blood.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to wait. It's like an hour-long process in total. So that's an hour out of your day when you already have a scheduled day. But then when they show up, it's a random show up, right? So it's kind of can cause some bumps in the schedule, that's for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
What do you think?
Chris Cyborg also had to get pulled out of her dancing classes. You know, they come straight in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of that, right? But then they're taking a lot of inconvenience, and still it's a flawed system. Well, I don't know if it's flawed or not. I don't actually know enough to give that judgment. I shouldn't say that, but
yeah, I think it's a fair assessment to say it's at least slightly flawed.
Yeah,
you know, we can't bend rules for certain fighters and not for others based on
right.
what kind of draw they have, or if they're if
they're gonna make you money, we could bend the rules.
I don't think we should even test for cocaine because it's a fucking recreational drug. Mm-hmm. It's not a performance enhancement thing. Yep. But you pop positive for cocaine 2 weeks before the fight, and you're still allowed to fight, and then they don't mention that till after the fight. Oh yeah, John tested positive for coke. It's like, look, he's fucking his own self up doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But at the same time, like, why are we even testing it if it's not going to mean a fine and it shouldn't be a fine?
Someone's getting paid
money for that, right?
Someone's getting paid on the back end.
Yeah,
that's what that means.
It's just silly. Yeah.
Well, the defense from the athletic commission is, from the testing is of course going to be we're there for the safety of the fighter. And if he takes cocaine, then he's not going to perform well, and he has more chance of getting hurt, and that's why we don't like it. No, it's not a performance enhancer; it's the opposite, and that's why we don't want it. You see, so that's what they do with weed. That's what like me being high on weed. There's no way I could fight. There's no way. I'm the guy who becomes a plant, who cannot talk, who talks but who forgets everything. So for me, I could never do that. So when people say, "Hey, you can't fight stoned," I could never fight stoned. I could, but it would be funny for you guys.
I think there's a few people like the Diaz brothers. I think they have some social. I'm not 100%. I don't know the exact story of it all, but apparently they have some social anxiety disorders. So the weed allows them to be more comfortable in a public scenery, right? So
I believe
in that scenario, they could possibly fight better. Yeah. So I think it can help some people. Just depends on, I guess, what strand and how it affects them, what their personal issue is initially. I like to see them, no matter what, high or not, fighting. I love the Diaz brothers.
They're fucking amazing.
For sure. Yeah. I love those guys.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah. But I think the main story again with that, what I was trying to say is, I think weed actually can help benefit their performances.
Yep.
Rather than others.
For them, they get more. They get more recreational. They get more, out of their head. Mm-hmm. They get better. I mean, I hear Eddie Bravo, right? Before they have class, everybody has to take a hit.
Yeah,
and then they go and they become very creative. I believe that. I truly believe that. So but I still think for me, it's going to be like I'm going to be in the corner eating. Okay, I'm going to be watching you guys.
When Eddie Bravo rematched Hoyler though in the the Metamoris show. Mm-hmm. He said he did not get high for that competition, though. But he gets high for all his classes, but not for that competition. It was too much on the line at that time. So I thought that was interesting for him. Someone who's such a proponent for marijuana to not be high for his match. That was an interesting statement to hear from him, I thought.
Huh. Yeah, there is. I mean, he talks about that in Mastering the Rubber Guard book and DVD. I think it's in his introduction to smoke weed. How it's like an important piece. Dives into the legality of it and the history of marijuana. And then he talks about how it can open you up. And I think Joe Rogan said it best in that if you're going to go roll, it's a great thing to tune you in to a flow state where you don't overthink your moves. You're just there in the moment and you just flow, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But if you got to learn some shit, if you're diving into a whole new position with me, it's hard to remember everything that you're taking in, right?
So it allows you
to do it striking with it. Like a boom, you get a hit kick, everything hurts. I'm hungry, I want to go. Like you constantly complain, dry mouth, your mouthpiece doesn't fit in your mouth anymore. It's so dry.
It's funny. But good point though, as far as if you already have the information logged in, it'll allow that to perpetuate itself, come out a bit easier, right?
Yep.
But if you are learning something new, then to take in the information while you're high isn't the best route. So that's a good analogy, a good way to think about it. That's good. I like that. It's already programmed with a flow. You're trying to program something, not the best recipe.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And you're up in Colorado, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
the first state to legalize it all.
Your man just fucking won the title back.
Yes. Yeah,
That's fucking
TJ's a ninja. He's by far the most committed athlete that I've trained. That's for sure. You know, or been around. Like, he's definitely much more committed than I ever was, and I thought I was pretty committed.
Yeah. Duane's very committed.
Yes, sir. TJ's on not another level, a couple levels above me. That's for sure. There's a reason why he is the champion, and it's not just because he's training in Colorado or he's training with me. It's a combination of all these things together. You can't really pinpoint one thing that's the reason why he's the champion. It's a combination of quite a few things and a lot of intangibles that are there.
Yeah, I think he embodies the work smarter, not work harder.
Yeah, he's
right?
definitely
so
very
many people
intelligent.
think like, I'm going to outwork my opponent. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do this. And it's like, no, you don't. Like Aubrey says, don't do more, do it better.
I like that.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I think TJ has fucking really figured out a way to listen to his body and to know how to push himself in all areas, but still to be scalable, where he's not showing up to. I mean, everyone shows up to a fight hurt, but he seems to be able to hold it together better than most.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair to say. He, all his fights, he hasn't really had any major injuries, little bumps and bruises here and there, right? But he's definitely, again, going back to him being a very smart athlete. He's definitely very smart, and he searches out, finds the right people for him to be around. You know, he's definitely looking for coaches to teach him, not just other bodies to beat on. You know, he's actually looking for people who are actually a bit more educated in their fields, so he can actually learn from them. So he's always learning and growing and processing and breaking things down and making notes all the time. He's a great student for sure, great student. But going back to doing things better, that's one of our philosophies in the system is quality repetition, because when you practice a move, that will be ingrained. So make sure that move that's practiced is technically correct. And now with the technique, now you have to find the timing, the distance, and accuracy. So he embodies all those aspects of a martial arts, or whatever the subject is. You know, he definitely breaks it down to a learnable. And he can break it down where he can understand it, and then it's just repetition to wire the move, and then the timing, the distance, and accuracy again. So just repeating myself, but that guy, he
repeated the repetition.
Yeah, because that has to happen. It's such an important thing, because people think training harder or going faster or going harder, right? That's not the case. It's doing it smooth and correctly, because smooth is beautiful, and now allow that to perpetuate itself.
Yeah, Paul Chek was on the show recently. He was talking about how when he was with the Army boxing team, they would have a 4-hour boxing practice, and a good 2 hours of that would be fucking jab. Half the fucking 4-hour practice would be working on the jab. And now that's obviously, there's many more layers to mixed martial arts than just boxing, but you can't just glaze over the basics.
Correct. That wire the basics.
Right?
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday. Your yellow belt, for instance, your first belt in a system like ours we have here is the most important. It's probably the hardest also to test, because that test, if you fail, you can't pass the test if it's not good, because that's your basics. Those are your basics, and if they're bad, well, the whole foundation is bad from the rest. So you're going to have to know that perfectly, and then the rest will be easier, I believe, than the first yellow belt.
All our ninja combinations and drills are just a bunch of the basics tied together, right? So again, you got to understand the basics so you can step forward. You can't run before you walk. So it's the same scenario, right? But again, we were just talking about that yesterday, and making sure that we wire the basics, because everything stems from the basics. So mastering the basics is very important. And again, on any subject, right?
You can only get to that 40 hit killer instinct combo when each move is fucking thoughtless.
It's funny you say that, because when TJ fought Barral the second time, the barrage he stopped him with was a 37-piece combination. He hit him 37 times. So it's funny you say 40, but it was almost 40. It's 37 pieces. But Barral can take a shot, right? Because TJ can crack. So for him to get hit with 37 pieces, that's quite a bit. And he never went down. He was stopped up against the cage. So just random thought.
Yeah, he's a savage.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's definitely
TJ's got dynamite.
He's a rare human being. Fast, dynamite.
Weird angles.
And the thing with that, when he fought Cody is faster for sure, right? But he didn't have the time. Well, TJ was able to find the timing during the exchange. So, speed can beat power. Power can beat speed. But what's going to make one of those two win is the timing of each. So TJ has the ability to create the timing, not necessarily find it, but he creates the timing. He's
Very
a ninja.
Cool.
That's why I call him. Yeah, that's why he's the champion.
He's got the belt,
and that's why he's going to fight Demetrius. Demetrius, where are you at, buddy? Come on, Demetrius, let's make this happen. Just as whether I'm TJ's trainer or friend or instructor or sensei or not, right? For me, just as a martial art enthusiast, I want to see that fight happen, to see, who truly is the best mixed martial artist. Because as far as human evolution and just history in general, these are the two that are at the highest peak of martial arts evolution. We have to see them fight just for the pure entertainment standpoint, just for the evolutionary standpoint, I want to see them fight.
I think that's a fight every fan wants to see, and it's also important for both of them because they've both
for their legacies.
They're both masters of their division. You know, TJ's won the belt multiple times. Demetrius is one of the most decorated fighters in the history of the sport, and you could argue that there's still a couple more fights in the division for each of them, but the point is, like,
only for TJ. No, I don't think for Demetrius. Well, except for Benavidez, but he's been out.
And there's no harm in fighting one another. You know, even if TJ was to lose to a guy in a lower weight class, it's Demetrius fucking Johnson, right? Yep. And if DJ loses, he's going up in weight. So no.
TJ's going to go down to 25.
No shit.
Correct, yeah.
Wow. Ooh, yeah. I thought they're going to do a catch weight.
No, we're fighting for
weird. You know better than I do.
Yeah, we're challenging for Demetrius's belt.
Wow. So the title is on the line. All right, I retract that statement.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
There's a lot to lose for
TJ
Johnson.
He's not
he can make it?
Yeah, he's not a big 35er. He has to eat and lift to be at 50 to cut to 35. If he wasn't lifting and eating excess calories, he'd be probably mid 40s.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he can make 25. Yeah, he's not a big 35er.
Ooh, that makes it so much more juicy.
Right, yeah, that's why we got to make this happen. Yeah.
That's the move.
That's the move.
That's the move. Connor's out, so
yeah.
Who's that next superstar that can hold two belts at the same time?
It's TJ. TJ he can beat Demetrius, that's for sure. 100%.
Oh, I want to see that.
Me as well. We all want to see that. Yeah.
I do.
I am definitely excited for that fight. Yeah. Hopefully it comes through.
Boss, what are you working on now?
A TV show. Kevin Can Wait on CBS tomorrow, Monday nights at 8 o'clock on CBS. This week I'm in again, so yeah, check it out. It's one of my dream job. It's literally a job that 20 years ago when I arrived here, people asked me why I'm in America, and I was talking about movies, doing something in the movies, whether it's acting or being a stunt guy or fight choreographer, doing something, because I used to do comedy, martial arts in Holland for TV. And then he said, well, what's your dream job? I said, TV. I would like to do TV. He said, TV? I go, yeah, it's a bigger medium. You reach more people. I think would be great. What kind of show? You want a badass show? I said, no. I would like to be on America's sitcom. I just want to do comedy. Are you serious? I go, yeah, I'm serious. I would love to. And now, last year, I went on the show, did 4 episodes. They loved it. And this year, I've been shooting with them.
And what's the name of the show again?
Kevin Can Wait. With Kevin James, Leah Remini.
I was going to say, it's got to be with Kevin James, right? That's a buddy of yours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an old. I'm a neighbor of his. Rutger is my name. Rutger van der Kamp. Really weird guy. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, But it's really funny because all the translation things we have from Holland into English and the other way around. So that messes a lot of up. Plus, I'm not the smartest guy. It's really funny as well. I love it, man. It's really my. It's the best job there is. It really is. The times, working, going to the people there. There's not one negative person. It's very hard to find a place where you work with not one negative person. Everybody's happy. Yeah, I go happy to work every day.
That's cool. Yeah, it seems like you got the right people around you too. Because I've done some things not on TV, but working with Hollywood actors. It's not the most enjoyable experience in my experience. But being around comedians is a whole different animal. Kevin James being a comedian, I'm sure he's surrounded himself with really like-minded, fun people to make the experience enjoyable.
It's a constant. Kevin is the guy you have a lot of different comedians, right? You have the comedians who are up and down. So roller coaster. They're mentally unstable. You have that a lot. He is always on. Here's what you see is what you get. So when you see him on stage doing his comedy, he's like that in real life. He'll see everything. He'll see a joke in everything. He sees that, oh, boom, and they have another joke, and this, and that's funny, and they just pop out the whole time. And if you see guys like that, the writers write. And how fast they are, it's a whole different level. Because sometimes you go, oh, I got a nice joke. What about if I say this? And then everybody just looks at me and I go, yeah, it's not that good. I got that. It's really a job. You realize, don't try to be like them, because it's like him trying to suddenly come over and say, hey, yeah, let's fight, boss. Yeah. That's my thing. And it's really unreal. For instance, there's a joke. Imagine a joke doesn't work. You say a certain line. I don't like this line. Now, there's a writer in front of me who says, okay, so just say this and this and this. I don't like that either. What about this and this and this and this? It's like he has 10 lines, 10 responses already lined up in his head. It's not like he looks at me and goes, okay, let me think. What about, it's not like that. It come out in a second. I said, no, I don't like that. Blah, 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 this one. No, what about this one? Blah, blah, blah. How can you do that? It's
like the pitcher on the mound shakes his head no, and then the catcher's already got the next sign for him of whatever's coming next down the pipe. All right, throw this pitch.
Yeah.
Nope, don't like that. Throw this
Good
pitch.
analogy.
Hell yeah.
It's cool. It's so cool.
Combos.
Yep.
That's good.
And it's just what we do in fighting. That's what they do in that.
Mm-hmm.
And everything needs to be fitting because you look at the script. No, I already said that there. And I said we have two words with the same words, and everything needs to be. People have no clue. If you look at a sitcom, why do you think the reruns with Friends and all these shows are there? Because pretty much everything you say is funny. People just don't realize it at the moment they're watching because it's so much information. But when you read the script for the first time, when they send it to you, I'm constantly laughing. Oh, this is a joke. That's a joke. I mean, it's packed with jokes, but you just don't. Some jokes people don't pick up, but they pick it up in the rerun. And that's why people like to watch these shows again. Oh, wait, I didn't realize that the first time. Oh, that's what he meant with that. That's why I'm laughing before I go to sleep. There's many times when I talk to my wife before I go to sleep, but I'm crying laughing because the things they write, it is so funny, and I can't stop. And it's so hard. There's some scenes. Like last Monday, I had a scene in where we fake this. We get somebody's listening to us on a listening device, and we know this now. So we have scripts made for us, and then we follow the script. We're going to set that person up, right? So he gives me the script and says Rutger. So he says Rutger. Yes, I like that very much, but I say Rutger, the name for it. And so he takes me and says, you don't have to say Rutger because you're Rutger. He says, yeah, but why did you write it then? And you get all these
silly stuff.
Such a funny situations. And there's this one moment when I say, Rutger, that's right, Rutger exits. And he goes, so while I go away, you see me go away, and here you see already the smile coming. I just realized that. It's very hard for me not to laugh in that scene. But you have to keep a straight face. But when I saw the scene and I saw myself turning away, I saw in the very end a little smirk on my face, like really for a split second. So I was happy that they sent me out of that scene, so to say. But that's the hardest thing, not to laugh.
They pull that scene out?
No. The scene is in. I can actually show you in a bit if you want. It's on the phone.
Sneak preview?
It's hilarious. No, it was last Monday. Otherwise, I wouldn't even talked about it. Yeah, because otherwise you give it away. I don't want to give it away.
Can't give it away the jokes, right?
Yeah, I know. But this Monday is going to be fun too, but yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting you say that, though. There's so many jokes in the scene that you don't catch it until you watch it multiple times. And I find that with songs. It's like, oh, that's what he's saying in the song. An old song from 10 years ago. Like, oh, that's what he was saying. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was driving this a long time ago, Sonny. I said, I'm going to give you every inch of my love. I never knew what that meant until I sang it like that on Inside MMA. And I go, and Kenny looks at me. I said, you know what? I was in the car driving over, and I heard that line. I never knew what it meant. Now I know what it means. It's so weird. But what a weird line. Right? Now I look like a complete psycho. You remember that line.
That's the line that sticks out and replays over and over again in your head.
I'm going to give you every inch of my love. Okay. Got it.
Now we know what hey, what are you giggling over there for?
So that's good. Boss, obviously you're still traveling, you're doing seminars and things like that, teaching your programming.
Yep.
Do you work with fighters still, or is that something that can be done sparingly? Or
it's sparingly, yeah, because of the work now. Mm-hmm. I'm like 3 weeks in New York shooting, and I go 1 week or maybe sometimes 2 weeks home, then back 2 weeks, 1 week home, 3 weeks back. So constantly back and forth. So it's hard. I teach at my gym, Monday, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock if I'm there.
Okay.
So when I travel, I simply can't do it. What I do is that some people sometimes come from a different country, and they would like to they're on a holiday or vacation, and they would like to train, and that I do. But if somebody just lives in the neighborhood and for private classes, I'm steering away from it because I'm too busy now.
Yeah, I forget that. Kevin James is a New York guy. Most people that are shooting, anything for TV, it's done in L.A., which you're from, right? So you get to travel across coast to get the work done.
Yeah, that was the thing. And thankfully for him, because they wanted to do the show, and they said, we want to do it in California. He said, I can't. I just moved back here to Long Island, and my mother lives here, and he wants to
Oh, shit, I had it reversed.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to L.A. from New York then?
So from LA, I go to New York to film there.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's how I had it the first one.
Okay,
all right.
Yep.
Now I'm confusing everyone listening.
No, you're right.
Kevin James just moved back to the East Coast.
East Coast. He's at the East Coast. He lives in Long Island. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you would just move back to Long Island. That's where I got.
Oh no! Well, next year, if everything gets.
I just fucking scrambled everyone's brain right now. But yeah, you're in LA still. That's where your gym is. And then you travel out to New York to do the show.
That's it. That's what
Very
I'm doing.
cool.
Yep. Westlake Village. I live 35 miles up north from Los Angeles.
Nice beautiful area.
Yeah, it's really
beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's nice to be that far out of town because it's a clusterfuck every time I'm in LA.
It is.
I try to stay wherever I'm at, whether it's Venice or I don't try to leave that town. I try to stay in that one little pocket as much as I can until I go to the airport.
I do too.
It is absolutely mind-boggling how much worse traffic has become there in the last 5 years.
Here, the freeways here, right? We were looking at
freeways here in Austin or just Texas in general are a little bit confusing.
They just have three fucking lanes. That's the issue with traffic is that there's not many lanes. You know,
but they have stacked upon among each other. You know, like in Japan. Like when you go to Tokyo, you get the freeways on the top, and you have the bottom freeways. You know, I like that. That's a smart thing to do. Maybe that should start happening in LA as well with the 101, 405. It's a nightmare.
Well, they can't keep making them wider, so they probably will have to start going up.
Yeah,
you know?
2 lanes up, stack them.
Indeed. So what do you got going on? How have you been?
I've been great, man. Let's see. Got the little guy. He's 2.5 years old, which is an absolute handful.
What's his name?
Bear. And our dog's name is Il Guapo.
Oh, nice. What kind of dog?
He's half Chihuahua, half Shih Tzu.
Oh,
and we got him from a Mexican family. So even though we were paying homage to you, it was much more because of a Spanish name that describes him. He is fucking very handsome.
Oh,
he's very handsome. But yeah, we just moved out here in September. Started working with Onnit. I get to do all sorts of cool shit. So I'm like the human guinea pig here. Get to test out and try out all sorts of new stuff for biohacks. Different protocols, fasting, just you name it. But I'm glued to all that stuff. Anything that can help repair the brain, which is an issue for guys like us. Yep. We had Dr. Dan Engel on, who wrote the Concussion Repair Manual. Fantastic work.
Can I pause you? What are some of the things to repair the brain then? I'm interested in this.
So what I thought was cool was there's a lot of things that I had done in that book that I didn't know had anything to do with the brain. So like floating, for example. I was using it for meditation and altered states of consciousness with some microdoses of other substances. And it's fantastic for that. But at the same time, it's also incredibly healing for the brain. And it works on kind of resetting that glutamate excitatory pathway into the GABA, rest and digest, parasympathetic pathway. So the more calm we are, in a way, and one of the reasons you want to do meditation is so you can have that waking peace in your consciousness and the little things don't get to you. I find that very evident with floating. And because there's no outside stimulus coming in, not only does that free up space for the brain to go within, but it frees up space for the brain to fucking relax, for the brain to heal, you know? And there's quite a few techniques in there. Transcranial direct stimulation. DARPA uses this with the military. It's where they train snipers for the first time. They took a reporter, a female, who had never fired a sniper rifle, and she was three kills out of 20, and just pure panic, like thought she was in a war zone through the simulation. They hooked her up to the transcranial stim, and she went 20 for 20. And she's like, "Why did you guys stop it?"
Wow.
And they're like, "What do you mean? Why did we stop it?" That was
what is it?
20
Can you
minutes.
take us through what the procedure?
So you basically hook up these. Radiolab did a piece on it 3 years ago called 9-Volt Nirvana, and there's a lot of gamers in the video gaming community that are making this shit on their own with there's no gauge on it, so it can fuck people up. But if you buy a good device, they're only $150, and you basically plug these electrodes onto your skull. You wrap something around it, and you turn on these 9-volt batteries, and the good ones will cap it at 2.1 milliamps. We basically are sending direct current electricity through your brain. And so they say, as they study the brain, neurons that fire together wire together. So if you can set them at different points on your brain, you'll be sending electricity through there. That ramps everything up. That ramps up neuronal activity. It can create new pathways and new connectivity. So if you've taken some damage to the frontal brain, from some head kicks and shit like that, or if you just want to improve things, you can put these in different parts. You can use it for learning a second language, music, coordination, like balance and things like that. Or
or sell them here,
or acquiring. We want to. I've been talking with Aubrey. We want to include some technological pieces that we white label and sell through Onnit.com. Not quite yet, but the one I use is Apex device, APEX, and it's $150. You can get it on Amazon. Worth every penny. They have a whole mode for depression and anxiety. They have all the different ways you can learn, and they just show these montages online. So this is where I'm going to put it on my head, the
And you really feel the difference.
There's no doubt. There's
How
no
often
doubt.
are you,
Now,
using it?
I was using this. I did it every day, twice a day for 28 days straight, one lunar cycle, and then now I'll do it 3 to 5 days a week.
One lunar cycle, how long is that?
28 days.
Okay, that's what you're saying, sorry.
Yeah.
Now, when you put it on, how long do you wear it?
You can do 20 to 40 minutes. You can even go longer, but if you're doing it a couple times a day, just...
And what do you need to do at that moment? You
Nice,
do your
yeah.
normal work,
whatever
or
you're
you
doing.
meditate?
So if I used it for depression and anxiety, I would meditate with it because that's the goal, is deep inner peace, right? If I wanted to learn, if I was using like for language learning and memory recall, I would put on Duolingo, which is a free app for language learning, and I'd learn Spanish. And that's where I was like, fuck, this is no joke. I hadn't done Spanish in a year, and now I wasn't getting a single answer wrong. Like instantaneously, fucking 100% right.
sold me.
Now, you can
right?
wear it and be...
You're not going to wear it while you're sparring or something like that,
Well,
because you got to hold this thing on you.
Okay.
So if I'm doing like, I've done it with balance on an Indo board,
Okay.
which looks kind of like a surfboard,
Mhm.
you know, and you can do balance training like that. So I can hold that thing in my hand. I'm not going to fly off it because I have enough experience with it. If I need to, I just put one piece down, kind of like you would stop on a skateboard.
Yes, sir.
So then I know I'm not going to eat shit on that because I've built up to a level of, you know, I'm not going to get hurt on top of that thing. But if I can hold that in my hand while I balance on it, again, same kind of results, like just absolute mastery of the skill.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that a bit more. Sorry, I'm giving you 50 questions on that. That's interesting, though.
No, it's cool. And
Yeah.
those are just 2 pieces. I mean, he had so many in that book where I was like, fuck. And when I interviewed him, I was talking about how like this isn't just something like you don't have to it's titled appropriately the Concussion Repair Manual, but you don't have to have had a concussion
So yeah, that's
to
the
need to
point,
read
yeah.
that. Like you could have a normal waking brain and still improve cognitive function, which everyone and their fucking mom wants to have a better
Yeah.
brain, right?
Yeah.
We want to have better working memory. We don't want to have brain fog. We don't want to hit the wall at 2 or 3 p.m. And these are techniques that can give us that. You know,
Yeah.
these are ways we can hack consciousness legally that boosts us.
Legally.
Hyperbaric oxygen was a big one too for healing the brain.
Okay.
Tim Ferriss has talked quite a bit about that.
I'm gonna have to
But,
get into this. Could you, if you don't mind, could you text me that?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
book?
that
Sure,
would
brother.
be
I
great.
wanna- Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
I'll see if we have a couple copies laying around too. We might be able to.
That would be
get
great. And if
Nice.
you give me the name, which one you use, whatever, I'll get one.
Ever since I fought Ramon Deckers in Japan. I didn't fight Ramon Deckers. I attended one of his seminars in Japan, is what I should say. But we had a scheduled bout, but it turned out to be a seminar, right? He just beat me up in the ring. But after the fight, I go back and I sit down, and my trainer tells me something, and I was like, huh? And he says, yeah, like you just fought Ramon Deckers. I was like, I did? I had no clue. I just fought that I was in Japan. I fought Ramon Deckers just 10 minutes ago. I was like, really? How'd I do? You lost. I was like, all right.
This
And
is
then-
making more sense now.
10 seconds go by. I fought Ramon Deckers, yeah, right? I did not remember it at all. I kept asking because I had a concussion, right? So I had no idea. And then I looked at my wife, and then she's looking scared. And then once I seen her, like, she was scared for me, then it just made everything like click back together, right? But for those however long it was that I was out of it, I'm pretty sure some wires did not reconnect, you know? So I'm fascinated. And then, of course, having so many fights and sparring matches, I'd like to make sure my brain is wired back to square one. if it
Yeah,
could be
that's
so.
exactly why.
Which is why I hooked up with Onnit in the first place for the alpha brain, right? And the healthy fats and the oils. So all that to make sure I'm just as healthy as I can be to be here for my family and my students and make sure I'm teaching and prolonging the system and raising a good, healthy, happy family. So health is first.
Health is so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
No, they just asked me, and I did this interview for Fox in Holland about the career because there was never a really big Dutch piece out there, and they were talking about, you know, if the first UFCs, you know, with the teeth flying out, and they asked me, do you want to be? I said no. If the referee can step in, why would I want to do this? I have a family that I love, you know. I mean, there's always the guys we saw with Pat Smith, like knock somebody out, and then he gives him like 6 more elbows. You remember the blood came up when he drew back his elbow. It was crazy. It was too violent. I said, if the referee can step in, yeah, then I would love to do it. So, and there was this moment when my nose, I broke my nose in the fight with Randleman, was that? And I never believed the nose bone into the brain story, right? It's a myth. It's just made up for movies. So, but the day before, or on the day, was one of the two. It was like somebody was playing with me. Somebody told me, but if your nose is broke already, then it can happen. I go, really? Yeah. Ooh. So now I'm in the fight and my nose is broke. So the John McCarthy asked me, hey, your nose broke, you want to continue? So I look at John, I said, do you believe that nose bone to the brain thing? And he goes, no. I said, okay, I'll fight. You know? But I had to ask him. And then the interviewer in Holland said, what if he would have said that it could happen? I say, I would have stopped the fight.
Wow.
And say, you would have stopped the fight. I say, yeah, if there's a chance that I die, I'm not like the other guys. I want to die in the ring or the cage. I said, I have a family at home that I love very much. I like to live. I like to be 100 years old. If there's a moment that I can lose my life, I'm not going to take the risk. And he goes, wow. I say, yeah, but that's what people can't think. It's a lot of brass for people to say it. It's a very easy thing to say it, that you will rather die in the cage. But I go, really think about this.
Say, yeah.
You know, if you have a family, I don't think you should die there.
Yeah, I fought in Nottingham, and half my face was caved in from an orbital blowout and my left eyebrow fracture. And so in between the second and third round, I'd lost the first brutally, flash KO'd, face fractured, win the second round. And I'm all about the third round. And they look at me in between rounds, and they're like, hey, do you want to continue? And I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. I'm fucking winning. Let's go. And they're like, okay, open your eye. And I couldn't open my eye. It had already swollen shut. So, my sister laughed at me because I was like, is it open? And I'm trying as hard as I can to open my left eye. Yeah. And they end up stopping the fight.
Yep.
And so right then, I was so fucking devastated that they stopped the fight. And then later on, I'm like, I could have lost a fucking eyeball if that guy hit me again in that soft ass. The orbital's not supporting anything anymore. I don't want to lose my fucking eye for a fight.
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
It makes no sense. Why would you? Yeah. So just stop. But that's a little bit of an ego is in there that also,
no doubt,
still wants to do it.
No doubt.
But if you really put it in perspective and say, okay, this can happen, stop. And especially depth. If you're one eye, your depth is completely gone. I mean, he's going to hit you even more now. We're looking with one eye, and if you never trained for that, not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not fighting anymore. You're not sparring anymore. You're not doing shit with one eye.
There's a long way.
You can't fly an airplane. You can't do a lot of things with one eye.
Yeah.
Right. So,
it was when I fought Genki Sudo, my first UFC fight. He had an injury to the orbital as well, so he had to stay. I remember he had to stay in Miami. They wouldn't fly him out because he had to stay for whatever the reason is, the pressure in the eye.
Yeah, Koscheck had to do the same. Thankfully, I was able to fly home from Nottingham, England, but Koscheck had to be. I think he was
on that same card
Montreal.
with you.
They drove him to fucking Buffalo, right? After the GSP fight. You were on that. That was a fucking great fight.
Well, my fight, my knee blew out. I got my knee blew out on an outside trip. Knee blew out. So it was my last fight, actually. That was on the same card with you. That's interesting. But then I was like, screw it. I'm just going to teach now. It's much easier. Get to eat what I want. Don't get punched in the face no more. This is nice.
Yeah, but for you, this is what you're supposed to do, I think.
I think so as well.
Fighting is there, but you really love it. He's 100% invested. Not 99, 100.
Yes, sir.
I think, and it shows. You see what he does with people.
I've had good instructors.
Lives.
You have, brother. Sure. The fucking the right lineage.
Wapo. Right? Yeah, and I'm proud and honored, definitely, to carry on the torch. That's for sure. I take it with pride.
Yeah, but I love it what you're doing with it. He takes all the basics, everything we do, and then he suddenly starts flipping chances. It was stances. Like for instance, I was talking about it. I've been always just one stance, and I fight like that. And then I see Duane starts the whole system, and suddenly you start switching stances. Now I've been teaching him, but now it's going. It's really working. Okay, now my students start doing it too. You see, so I bring that back. So now it's like this give and take thing, and that's the best. It's just the best. Seeing somebody who really thinks about it. I thought I was always completely invested, but this guy takes it to a whole new level.
Thank you,
so
sir.
Really good.
I'm proud. I love it.
Hell yeah,
proud, that's for sure.
Well, I know you guys got to jam to the airport. Thank you very much for your time. Two absolute masters of craft. Thank you very much for fucking joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you on it. Appreciate it.
Awesome.